Hello everyone, my name is Derek and the application that we created was Clarity. The goal of our application was to combat the data that is being leaked into the world without our knowledge, and to this day we probably don't even know that everything that's out there. Obviously there are safe things we can do to ensure they don't go out, and there's also more active things we can do to ensure that the things that have been out get destroyed. And that is what we wanted to bring with Clarity, bring everything together. Um, since we're all about not taking too much data, all you need to get an account with us is an email and a display name so that we can keep track of all the breaches that happen to it. You're greeted with a welcome page where you can see the Clarity points, which is basically how much you've been doing to combat your data being released into the outside. And you can see a to-do list, which is just basically reminders for you to do certain things that will help you make sure your data doesn't go out unnecessarily, like checking for software updates that might fix some problems or changes in terms of conditions that you might not have even noticed. This brings us to the Action Center, where we get more information and more actions into what we can do. The top is obviously just data that we have accumulated that will be updated based on how many people are compromised every year, and we're just trying to make it better and better till there's very minimum amount of people getting compromised due to unsafe actions. We created an advanced web scraper which basically went through the internet searching for any ties to do with your username, any data breaches that you might not even know about, any places that your address might be stored that you don't want to be. And we just toggle it and it would start running and just give you places that it has seen that your email has been exposed. We also paired this up with the Have I Been Pwned API to make sure that anything in the past you're aware of, the passwords that you might have used in that, you can change so that you don't get hacked or any other bad things, really. And then we also had a website safety measure, which we took from Google's WebSafe API, which allowed us to check if a website was safe enough to explore whether it was to check something, make payments, and all of that. And the right side gives you a good graph about how you have been doing in combating data, being safe with data throughout the year. And this is obviously mock data, but this is how it would look as it would accumulate your everyday actions in terms of fighting against data breaches. And these are some of the previous data breaches that my email has been a part of, that has been pulled up from the API, and these are the things that I've done to combat them. And now Jeevan will talk about more features that our app delivers on.
Hey everyone, my name is Jeevan, and I'll be talking about the Manage Permissions page. On this page, you can see a table where we have all the different applications that have been downloaded on your device. You can also check the permission count, like all the permissions that these applications are using, and the status, unsecure, secure, unsafe, and so on. And based on the permissions that are being used by this application, it'll tell you the vulnerability that this application poses to your device. And so based on that, you can decide what permissions you keep for that particular application. And it's a much more streamlined way to check what permissions you need versus going through your settings and digging through them to each app and finding what you need and what you don't need. Next, we have a password checker, which is an inbuilt function that we added to our application, where you can put in mock passwords. For example, pizza. And if you type and you hit the checker, it tells you how quickly it can be cracked by a computer. Obviously, this is not a very good password, so if you put in a much more random and longer password, it gives you a lot longer time and probably won't ever be cracked by a computer. So these are some of the types of projects that we could build further with Clarity in the future. And I'll pass it back to Derek.
Something that we were really excited to build was an in-house VPN. Since a lot of VPNs nowadays are very expensive, as well as the cheaper ones are either safe or quota bound or something like that. But not as cloud services have become very popular in the world today, we can create VPNs much easier than people previously were able to do. We tried to implement a VPN by ourselves using AWS, and we had success at some points and failures at others. As we tried to implement, some of our JSON files got corrupted, and it didn't really pan out, but we were able to get a few connections here and there. And if we had more time, we would have been able to explore more ways for us to stabilize and get an actual VPN connection going. And this, again, just bringing all the things that keep you safe on the internet into one spot so you can be clear in what you do. I'll pass it on to Rohan to show you other ways that Clarity will help you combat digital malpractice.
Hello, so my name is Rohan, and I will be taking us through the Stage and Armor pages. So simplicity and accessibility has always been the primary focus we had when developing Clarity. We also wanted to make sure that we had the ability to empower our users by giving them easy access to information surrounding digital privacy practices. Our Stage page does this, and it also allows users to gain more information about what security risks can occur, how to combat them, and where to get help, along with some additional information from the Minnesota House of Representatives surrounding the legal aspects of cyber security. Our Armor page was developed with the idea to provide a list of extensions and applications which users can utilize to augment their digital privacy and reduce their digital footprint. Most extensions and applications rely on limiting data tracking applications, and this heavily reduces user digital presence. I'll pass it on to Shreya now.
Hi, I'm Shreya, and I mainly worked on design for our app. So I used things like Canva and Rive to create animations and other things that make our app more colorful and make it a more enjoyable experience for users. For example, I used Rive here to create this lock animation that also has a magnifying glass, which is a reference to our web scraper feature. I'll pass it back to Derek.
And in the whole, that's what Clarity was. We tried to do a lot of things to make sure that our the people that use it will be able to stay safe in today's pretty hostile internet. And another idea we had was a two-factor authentication. But when we started, we had hit a lot of roads, and we were like, we need to get something working before we can get to more advanced stuff. But basically, the idea was to be able to provide two-factor authentication to any application, even the ones that don't have it. And in the same way, we just want people to be able to be clear on what they're doing on the internet and stay safe and have their data to themselves. I hope you enjoyed, and that was Clarity.